10 days away from Wrestle Grand Slam in Yokohama Stadium May 15th and the Tokyo Dome May 29th, all live, all in English, all in person on njpwworld.com. I'm Chris Charlton, and a very happy Children's Day to Kevin Kelly in your undisclosed location over there.
Thank you very much. I'll be celebrating by taking a childlike stance through life's issues.
Well, certainly, I think that our childlike glee as wrestling fans was brought out by our main event last night at Dontaku, which has the world talking. Of course, you can catch that both in Japanese and in English right now on njpwworld.com. We're definitely going to talk about that here today. But of course, yesterday, some of the news that was coming out, a card change to yesterday's event. After two wrestlers came down with slightly elevated temperatures, abundance of caution, everybody was tested, and kind of really as a result of that, everything's kind of being very diligently applied, and news will be provided to the fans and to the public in full transparency in due course. And that might include further cards down the line, maybe, a lot of fans kind of expect, Kevin, that it's going to be the next day, and then we get everybody saying, right, when is it? But right now, obviously, the most important thing is everybody's health and safety.
Right. I always jokingly haunt you at ringside. Chris, tell me when's this press conference? Come on, fess up. And obviously, I think the key term is out of an abundance of caution. I have been in wrestling for 31 years. And I have never seen a company, I don't know how other companies handle these situations, but the way New Japan handled these type of situations, to me, is exactly how they should be handled. I felt like, again, the way everything will shake out will be out of an abundance of caution. And when we know, we know. But we obviously have the feeling of euphoria following last night's just absolutely thrilling main event. It was incredible. Best match I've ever called. I just cannot think of two athletes who pushed each other beyond the limits, absolutely beyond the limits. It had everything.
I couldn't believe, these two can't be human. We've seen these long form matches and 30, 40, this was 44, 39, something like that.
Right.
Before, and there's always this element of you see that pace, like a mountain, and it builds and then it goes down, and then we see people come back up, like those waves. And it was just unbelievable. The conditioning of both of those guys was just phenomenal. The will to win from both of them, pardon the pun, when it comes to Ospreay. But really, what I think we saw was the complete maturation of who Will Ospreay is as a wrestler within that match. To me, I think when you saw how he was targeting Shingo Takagi's arm, you saw those throwbacks to the matches he had with Kushida and those lessons that he learned, and kicking away at the arm and the hoverboard lock. But then going from there, you saw how brutal he has become, how merciless he's become in a way. Shingo Takagi is in a similar pattern, just the sheer will to win. And I thought it, in the end, very appropriate that Shingo Takagi ate a Rainmaker for the first time in that match in his career. And it came from Will Ospreay.
It had everything. I think, that full maturation process. For me, for Will, there's one more step, and that's the match with Okada. Part of my hesitancy to say that Ospreay would win came from the fact that would he be looking down the road at the potential of an Okada match? Because that is what has stuck in his craw. That's what fueled the United Empire. That's what drove him to go to the lengths that he did to capture the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think that, the May 29th battle between he and Okada for the World Heavyweight Championship now takes on another element. It's a very dangerous setting for Ospreay and for Okada, because Ospreay will go beyond the lengths that we saw last night. And it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. And again, kudos, the highest level of praise to both athletes for what they gave us last night. And also big props to the World team for turning around and getting the English commentary version of both nights of Wrestling Dontaku up in record time so the fans can enjoy both events almost at once if they wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think one other point to me from that match is maybe you could say Kota Ibushi at Sakura Genesis took Will Ospreay a little bit lightly. You could perhaps make that argument. Whereas here, you know, and I said, I texted you, I have a hunch this might go the 60 because
Right.
Shingo's not going to give in to anybody, you know, and literally just threw everything he had at Will Ospreay. But you saw in that match just two of the very best in the world complete at just a complete world class level, and an absolute level beyond, again, to pardon the pun and Will Ospreay's terminology. So now Dontaku is now behind us, and we have to turn the page and look at what's next. May 15th and then May 29th in the Tokyo Dome Wrestle Grand Slam. We can't wait to be there at ringside. I can't wait. You know, Yokohama Stadium, just a short walk from my house, and
Right.
historic venue as well. First time. Yeah, it's very rare that we get to be there for New Japan debuting in such a big setting.
And you know, there's a thrill, and as we go along in these reports, I'll talk a little bit about what it's like to broadcast outside. It's different. It's different than a dome. It's different than a traditional arena. Again, we'll start during the daylight, and then we'll finish under the stars. And the elements could play a role. You know, there could be a pop-up shower or something that blows through. This time of year, you never know what's going to happen. And that's all of what makes a baseball stadium show so unique, so different, and what is making, for me, Wrestle Grand Slam a personal highlight of my announcing career.
All right, so we'll bring you more as it develops, as we keep coming back to you every single day on the road to Wrestle Grand Slam. So until tomorrow, ごきげんよう。さよなら。